What is the meaning of this spectacular face? Human beings can exist in many ways of being and varied levels of impact. Many may spend their lives in fulfilling their survival needs and small pleasures of life. Nothing wrong or sinful in these mundane occupations, just wasteful of the power of our being to transcend the waste of our bodies and our minds. In our bodies, there is a little bit of pleasure. In our minds, a little bit more. In our emotions, a lot more. In touching the nature of our being, we rise above the creaturehood of our existence and become a cosmic consciousness. It is such beings who rise above this daily concern and rose above their individual self to get to explore the true nature and the timeless ecstasies of our being. Such a being shall look down upon pathetic and desperate efforts of those who invent heavens to solace themselves and to deceive others. To be exuberant, to be intoxicated, and to be still at once gives you access to the innards of life and the life-making process and the very source of life. It is with this access that one becomes a yogi. Once you have tasted and soaked in this grace, how can we not be a bit crazy about the one who found this access to start with, the first yogi, the Adiyogi. If all of you have a bit of longing, if all of you have a bit of longing to know and experience the spectacular nature of the life that we are, in spite of all our daily concerns, you still can start with a simple process like Isa Kriya, or there is a Sadhguru app which gives simple ways. But for those who are not entangled with the world around or engulfed in self-created problems of day-to-day survival, competition, and in turn feeling like being stuck in a spider's web and of course you are not the spider. Creating powerful spaces for transformation and transcendence is to cater to those who long to rise, not for those who look up to something. Those who intend to rise above the mundane and touch the magical aspects of life and its source. All of this enshrined within us. We don't have to go in search of some heavenly place. It is all enshrined within us. The question is only, will we find access or not? To make possible as to how one can transcend the reptilian brain that enslaves us to boundaries. Boundaries and boundaries, people are going on creating. When we were born, there were no boundaries. But what we call as growing up is essentially a way of enslaving ourselves to the boundaries, psychological, emotional, social, and other kinds of boundaries that we build around ourselves. Sometimes you can sugarcoat your boundary and if the prison walls, suppose you're put in a prison and the prison walls are coated with honey. If you're licking it every day, you think prison is a great place. But the possibility of what it means to be a human being is not realized. The significant aspect of being human is that every other creature on this planet, whatever they are, because many people like to call themselves lions, many others today want to call themselves as tigers. I just reminding you, it is a serious step back in evolution. Whether you're a tiger or a lion or a house cat, whatever you are, it is very significant. Being a human being means you are the peak of evolution. Being a human being means you are the flowering on this planet, the highest possible life on this planet. That is not a small privilege. But right now, most human beings are not feeling on top of the world. Not because there is some problem with life, of course you can invent many problems, essentially because you have not found access to the source of who you are. Because human experience, both joy and misery, pain and pleasure, agony and ecstasy, is all generated from within. Why would you create pain and suffering for yourself if you had found access? Because the moment you misunderstand your psychological process as life process, then suffering is inevitable, because the nature of your mind is just a consequence of what kind of impressions, what kind of material, what kind of data. This is Bangalore city, I have to use the right words, data. What's your GB, eh? Hello? What's your memory GB, I'm asking? Okay. So, what kind of data you have gathered decides, and how you choose to use it decides the nature of your experience. So the reason why these powerful spaces consecrated in a way that they become a doorway to go beyond these daily concerns of life, to go beyond the ways of the body and the ways of our psychological process, because what we call as body and what we call as our mind, these are instruments that we slowly gathered over a period of time. And these instruments should work as stepping stones in our life. But unfortunately, for most human beings, it has become a quicksand that people sink into and never come out of. Fulfilling the needs of the body, making arrangements for the needs of the body and your thought and emotion, whole lifetime is spent making arrangements, arranging, rearranging, rearranging many kinds of arrangements, endless number of arrangements. But a whole lifetime, if you make any arrangement for anything, arrangement should be done at the earliest possible time, and the rest of it should be to experience life as profoundly as possible. So the entire gamut of life's possibilities in terms of profoundness, in terms of sweetness, in terms of knowing the nature of our existence, knowing the nature of the source of our existence is completely missed. It is to provide this possibility that a spiritually significant place is created, and Adiyogi represents that. Adiyogi generally worshipped in the country as Shiva, yes. You must understand, as per various iconographic proofs, it says it's somewhere over 15,000 years ago that he walked this land. Over 15,000 years ago, a man comes and goes and we don't forget him. For 15,000 years, he must have done something significant. He must have done something so incredible that after 15,000 years, we cannot forget him and we still are going on talking about him. Well, largely it turned into worship and ritualistic ways of doing things, but you must understand the significance of Adiyogi is over 15,000 years ago, when human intellect generally was not in a shape to understand the sciences of human well-being, the subjectivity itself to be handled in a scientific manner, technologies for well-being. So not knowing how to use it, most people worshipped, a few people made use of it. Though his time is of such antiquity, he is past, he belongs to the future, because it is only now in 21st century that more people than ever before in the history of humanity can think for themselves and think reasonably logically. You may not agree within the family, but that's okay. But everybody is beginning to think. I am saying just about 150, 200 years ago, in most societies in the world, not so much in India, but most societies in the world, women were not even supposed to think. They should not think. So, in 21st century, straight away, 50% of the population has joined and they have a thought process of their own. And it's recognized and valued for the first time. Hey, what are the ladies doing? Come on. You just forgotten how bad it was in most parts of the world, how bad it was for the women. If you've forgotten, you must take a vacation in Afghanistan. That's how it was in most parts of the world. Today, you are sitting here, you can say what you want, you can read, write, do whatever you want. You can even serve in the army I'm saying you can fly an airplane, you can do whatever. So if you don't celebrate that ladies like this, cold Sadhguru, cold, what to do with you? Come on. I want to hear just the female voices, huh? So, more people are thinking for themselves than ever before. So now, the sciences that he taught of approaching our subjectivity, even our inner well-being, not as a religion, not as a philosophy, not as an ideology, but as a science with applications which are technologically correct and which work wonderfully well. And the only reason these methods have stayed alive is because of their efficacy. Never have you heard in the history of humanity, never have you heard in these 15,000 years, anywhere, somebody putting a sword to somebody's throat and saying, do yoga, otherwise we'll cut your throat. Such a thing has never happened. But today, over 2.7 billion people are practicing some form of yoga on the planet. So when I say yoga, don't think of how to twist myself like a leftover noodle. It's not about that. Yoga means union. What does union mean? If you don't understand, I just want to check, all of you breathing? Those people breathing? I hear only a few people saying they're breathing, this is scary. So if you're breathing, what you inhale, the tree is exhaling. What you exhale, the tree is inhaling. Am I making this up or is this so? Hello? Is it a fact? Now, as you sit here, you've been delivered from your mother's wombs, of course, but you're still in another womb. Right now, This atmospheric bubble that's holding you is just like your mother's womb. It has to maintain the right kind of pressure, right amount of oxygen, right amount of everything. If the pressure goes up, your lungs will get burst. If the pressure goes down, it'll get all sucked in. You have heard of people having problems in altitude and stuff, because essentially you can breathe only if the pressure, the content of the air, what it needs to be, everything is perfect. This is like a womb, this is a womb. It is not just for fun, we call it as Mother Earth. So you're still in the womb. When will you be delivered? So yoga means you begin to experience this, not intellectually understand this. You begin to experience everything as a part of yourself. The barrier between you and what is around you is largely psychological. There is a little bit of other aspects which can be easily broken through, but mainly it is the boundaries that you have drawn. These boundaries, to obliterate these boundaries, to wear them thin at least, is the process of yoga. There is no one form. Adiyogi himself gave 112 ways through which a human being can attain to their ultimate nature. It is because of this, to honor him and also to remind people and to inspire people and also open a doorway, that Adiyogi is here, 112 feet tall. I'm again asking you, is he looking good, huh? Let me ask the ladies, is he handsome? That's a bang on opinion. So, oh. Okay. Okay, so, the subtle aspects of yoga largely have not been explored, particularly in the last 2 centuries. A lot of it has been lost. In innovations, in occupations, we've lost a lot. But I must tell you this, in the last 40 years since I've been on doing this, it's 40 years now. Okay? 40 years. It feels like 4 days, but it's 40 years. In these 40 years, we have created a certain amount of spiritual thirst across the world. Across the world, without an exception of any nation. So, those of you who belong to this region, you must understand, once we have some facilities ready, people from all over the world, literally from every country will be coming here. Those of you who have lands and homes close by, you must become hosts for all of them and turn this entire place into a spiritually rich region, not just the center. Because this is what this culture is about. This culture is not invested in simply going on making bigger and bigger arrangements. Everybody everywhere in the world is talking about sustainability, environment, nonsense. I'm telling you, the only and only reason the planet is getting ripped apart is in search of human well-being, human happiness. I don't know how much more you have to dig into the earth before you are happy. Hello? How much more should we turn the earth upside down before we are happy? So, if you think you will be happy after making all these arrangements, you will see somebody will be making a funeral arrangement before the arrangements are complete. Before you think you have everything that you need. Home to big home to bigger home, small car to bigger car to bigger car. By the time you make all the arrangements, somebody will be making funeral arrangements for you. That is if they care, otherwise, who knows, like COVID times, what happened? Terrible things happened, all right? So, I want you to understand this, the purpose And the reason why these thousands of volunteers have worked to make this place happen, in how much time? This is something you must know. The Adiyogi is up in less than 5 months. When this was done in Isha Yoga Center in Coimbatore, it was done in 8 months. Everybody said that's a… This has happened in 5 months. But 5 months into 3, actually it's 15 months because everybody worked 3 shifts, you know. So, this frenzy of doing things at this pace is because this is the most needed thing right now in the world. WHO, the World Health Organization, is talking about a mental health pandemic. Maybe 3 years ago, you did not know what does the word pandemic mean. But today all of you know it for sure. Almost every one of us have lost someone who was dear to us during the pandemic. Almost every one of us. So, we know what is a pandemic. Now they're talking about a mental health pandemic. What this means is, now in this, all of you who are here, whatever the number, if 100 people have some problem, all of you will get it. That's what a pandemic means. So, mental health pandemic, can you imagine? Are you already going… Hello? Yes, you are. See, you can call it stress, you can call it tension, you can call it misery, you can call it anxiety, you can call it whatever you want. Essentially, if nobody is poking you with a knife or a screwdriver, if you are poking yourself with your own thoughts and emotions, you are a little bit crazy. Hello? Hello? So, for this many people, you think Nimhans has beds? Do you think we have enough psychiatrists to handle 8 billion people? Because everybody is busy using their mental faculties to torture themselves in 1,000 different ways every day from morning to evening. And they think and they even think they have a wonderful life because they bought a new car and they have a big house and they have a husband, wife, children. All this, it doesn't matter what you have. If you do not know the joy of your existence, you're wasting yourself. So if we want to see that humanity lives to its full potential, one of the most important things is to bring back this culture of turning inward and knowing that human experience is manufactured within us. It doesn't come to us from anywhere. It comes from within us. What is within us must happen the way we want. What is in the world will not always happen our way, because there are so many people, so many things will happen, but what is within you must happen your way. I know you're always complaining, your husband is not the way he should be. Hello? Hey, come on, tell me it's okay. He's not. My wife is not at all the way I want her to be. She was like that the day I married, but now she's become many other things. And my children, of course, they're always a pain in the neck. And my boss, he's not even human. What is there to talk about him? Like this. Nobody in your life will ever happen 100% the way you want them to be. But I'm asking you, is it not important this one person happens your way? Hello? This one person must happen your way. If you don't happen the way you want yourself to be, then what's the point? Everybody else may be whichever way, but you're not happening the way you want. Once you don't happen the way you want, this means your faculties are not taking instructions from you. This means mental health pandemic is already manifesting. Where there is not enough room in the hospital, so they left you out. Hello? They left you outside because there is not enough room. This is important. This is important for you as a generation of people, and this is important for the future generations, that you make yourself into a stable, exuberant and wonderful human being. And the tools to make this happen is what yoga is about. The tools, 112 tools that he offered are phenomenal tools that can be applied to just about any kind of human being. That's what this is about. That is why all this fuss. Tools. Sadhguru, we thought you're going to bring the heaven down, but you're talking about tools, mechanical screwdrivers and spanners. Yes, if you do not know the significance of a tool, I must tell you this. The only reason why human beings are dominating the planet is simply our ability to use tools. The other creatures not capable of using tools, otherwise many of them are stronger than us, with their life they're smarter than us, but we can use tools, that is the main thing. People come and when I say, Yogeshwar Linga is a tool for your well-being, Sadhguru, don't say this. Adiyogi is more than my life. So then I tell them, okay, you do one thing, come and stay. We'll give you some work, maybe we will give you plumbing maintenance work. No tools, you can do it with your hands. All the skin will peel off. If you want, you can use your teeth, some of them will go off. In 3 days, when you lost your teeth and your skin is peeled off, if I give you a winch or a spanner, will you worship it or not? Hello? Will you worship it or not? So this is the power of the tool. The problem is this, if you do not have the right kind of tool, even simple things become so complex. The chair on which you're sitting, just feel and see, there is a screw there, try to undo it with your hands. You will only have pain and suffering. A screwdriver, just do the job, all right? So this is the power of the tool. Yoga is a complex variety of tools. You can call them technologies, but essentially these are tools. To offer these tools to variety of people at different levels, people who are willing to invest, people who think their life is only this much, that they think they can invest only 10 to 15 minutes a day for their well-being, we have one kind of tools. Somebody who wants to invest an hour, we have another kind of tool. Somebody who wants to invest more, we have another kind of tool. Depending on your longing, there are 12 fantastic tools. That is what this spectacular being represents. What? Kambali? Oh, they're coming, they're not coming. So, the possibility for every kind of human being. Oh, this yoga means what, should I become a yogi? Should I go and live in the Himalayan cave? There is no such possibility because all the caves are taken, I'm telling you. I've been trekking there since I was 19. All the caves have been taken, there are no caves left for you to go. And some parts of Himalayas are sinking, unfortunately. So, it is not about the Himalayan cave, it is about this one. Will you keep this as a dark cave or will you light this up? That is the question. Hello? That's a question. Will you keep this as a dark cave or will you light it up? So if you want to light it up, you must at least see where the wick is, what to do about it. Little bit of oil, some fuel, these things are needed. If you don't earn these things, well, the only light you will see is the funeral pyre. I'm not trying to be strong on you, but half your life is gone for most of you. If you don't wake up even now, when? Hello? And how do you know only half is gone? Has anybody here come with a guarantee card that you will live? Your astrologer told you will live to be 85, but he died the next day. Hello? It's happened, isn't it? It's happened many times. So, it doesn't matter what kind of predictions, what kind of projections, what kind of plans you have for life. Life is a brief happening. If you explore the full spectrum of what human possibilities are, then life is terribly brief. Have you noticed on a particular day when you're very happy? Hello, those people at the back, have you ever been very happy? Full day? Okay. If you are very happy on a particular day, then you find 24 hours, poof, went off like a moment. Another day, you are little in this mode. On that day, 24 hours feels like 1,000 years. You had this? So, time is a very relative experience. So what I'm telling you is, only miserable people can have a long life. If you're a joyful, vibrant, exuberant human being, which is what you should be when you're alive, then if you live for 100 years, it'll be gone in no time. So, this possibility is not just about being joyful. Joy is not the goal of life. Joy is the necessary ambience for you to become a possibility. Only when you're joyful by your own nature and you have no fear of suffering, because you're joyful by your own nature, as a consequence, you have no fear of suffering. Because you have no fear of suffering, you can walk full stride in your life. Otherwise, the fear of suffering limits you in such a way that all the time you're taking half steps. Just look at everything that you might have done in your life. Somewhere the fear of suffering, what will happen, what will… ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೋ. What will happen? You and me will live and you and me will die one day. That's all that'll happen. Right now, when the life is on, but Sadhguru, I lost my job, that means you have a lot of time to live. Sadhguru, my family like this happened, that happened. No matter what is happening, I want you to understand, first of all, what is your place in the universe? See, in this vast cosmos, where it begins, where it ends, nobody knows. Neither the religious people nor men of science have figured out where the cosmos begins and where it ends. In this vast cosmos, this solar system upon which where we are right now, it is a tiny speck. In this tiny speck, planet Earth is a micro speck. In that micro speck, Bengaluru is a super micro speck. Chikkaballapura is a super micro speck. In that, you are a big man. This is a serious problem. This is a very serious problem. There is no context to our existence. Both in terms of time and space, what you occupy here is such a minuscule, that even if you were not here, nobody would have noticed. Nobody in this universe would have noticed whether you and me are here or not. But at the same time, we are invested with the possibility of touching the limitless possibilities of this universe, not physically but experientially. Just see your eyes, how big are they? Not more than 1.5 inches, even if you have very big eyes. You can look at the sky and capture the whole thing with this small little eye. This is the nature of your experience. If you open up your inner eye, you can capture the whole cosmos in your experience. Physically, if you try to handle life, you will end up handling very, very small aspects of life because physically we are small, we are extremely small. We are just about like any other ant or worm on the planet, we are that small. But experientially, we can be a limitless possibility. This is what Adiyogi opens up for you. This is what Yogeshwaraya is about. It's my wish and my blessing that every one of you should be, if you are not ecstatic, at least you must be joyful. If you're not even joyful, at least you must know the beauty of being peaceful. Below that, I will not reduce the bar for you. Is that okay?